Waging peace, fighting disease, and building hope. For over 3 decades now, this has been the incredible mission of the Carter Center, an organization guided by its commitment to human rights and the alleviation of human suffering throughout the world. And our next guest is the recipient of the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize for his work through this fine organization. We're delighted to welcome to the program the 39th President of the United States, President Jimmy Carter. President Carter, welcome to Talk Business 360.
Well, it's delightful to be with you and all the people who listen to this program.
Sir, the Carter Center divides its efforts between peace and health initiatives, and one of the areas where you've been very much engaged in over the years is in election observation. Where have you been focusing your efforts more recently?
Well, the Carter Center began this entire process of monitoring elections in troubled countries, or countries with troubled elections. And we just finished our 94th election, and it was in Kenya, as a matter of fact. But earlier, a little bit before that, mostly last year, we did the elections in the so-called Arab Spring or Arab Awakening movement in Libya and in Tunisia and in Egypt. And we still have an office in Egypt waiting for an election there.
The center has also been closely monitoring the situation in war-torn Syria. What work have you been doing behind the scenes?
Well, we don't interfere in the negotiations that the United States government does or the United Nations, but we explore ways that might ultimately be acceptable for the revolutionaries and also the incumbent regime by meeting with their representatives and their lawyers to say what can be the best approach to a new constitution and a new arrangement within the Syrian society if and when the ceasefire can go into effect and be prevalent. So we prepare for peace agreements when international agencies are involved, and when they are not involved, for instance, we go by ourselves. For instance, we go alone to North Korea to try to negotiate between North and South Korea, since the United States won't go there.
And now, one of the human rights issues you're bringing into the spotlight more recently is to seek positive solutions for violence against women and other gender-based violations of human rights. Could you tell us more? What is the Carter Center doing here?
Well, I believe that the most serious challenge in the entire world in this new millennium is the prevalent abuse of women and girls. And it's not only a matter of rape and violence against them, primarily among their own loved ones, but it's also a deprivation of women as far as their ability to earn a job, to get a good education, and to get adequate health care. So we've adopted this, I have, as my own personal foremost project, and I'm now writing a book that will be published early next year on that subject. How can we end the abuse? Part of the abuse is caused by the misinterpretation of religious scriptures in the Bible and the Quran and so forth, and a lot of it is just caused by prejudice by men who want to be dominant in the society.
Now, if we could, I'd like to talk about some of your health initiatives. The Carter Center has worked tirelessly to wipe out diseases in many parts of the world, and one of the diseases you're fighting currently is river blindness in Africa and South America, which affects some of the poorest people in the world. What's been your strategy in eliminating this disease?
Well, eliminating is a brand new word that the Carter Center originated. We never talked about eliminating before. It was just control, because we had to give the same medicine over and over every year to somebody to keep them from going blind with onchocerciasis or river blindness. But the Carter Center has experimented now in South America in 6 countries, and we have eliminated the disease almost completely from South America by giving more than one treatment per year. And we have also begun to do this in Africa. We've tried it out in Uganda. We've tried it out in North Sudan. And in both those countries, we're making remarkably good progress. So I think we've turned the entire health industry around, including the World Health Organization, to start saying, how can we eliminate this disease of river blindness instead of just controlling it one year after another?
Another disease you've been fighting is guinea worm, since 1986, actually. I understand that there's good news on this front?
Well, there is. We started out with 3.5 million cases of guinea worm in 20 countries. In fact, to be more specific, in 26,300 villages. And the Carter Center and the people we trained have been in every village, and we've cut those 3.5 million cases down now to less than 200 cases. And most of those cases are in South Sudan, and we're monitoring those villages that might have guinea worm again every day with thousands of volunteers and a large number of paid staff. So we're on the verge of letting this be the second disease in the history of the world it's ever been completely eliminated from the face of the earth.
Well, it's wonderful work you're doing. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
We've been speaking with President Jimmy Carter. Learn more about our conversation and the efforts of the Carter Center by visiting the Carter Center's website at cartercenter.org.